Hello students, in previous video we see what is the logic behind bubble sort method and how adjacent elements may change if there is one requirement. If elements are already in sorted order, then there is no need to interchange. Now in this video we see how we can implement that algorithm, bubble sort algorithm inside this C# program. So here we are not taking the integer values, but we are taking the string values and we compare the string values. Now how we can compare the strings means if there is one string is Archana and another string is Nilesh, then how we may say one string is less than on another string. This is the logic of alphabetical comparison. Means the string which comes or which starts at the letter A is less than the string which starts from the letter other than A. Means alphabetically the string Archana comes before this Nilesh. So in this way string comparison are done inside any programming language, but we are not comparing the strings directly by using less than or greater than operators. So inside C# we need some functions or ready-made libraries there are. So by using those libraries we can compare the strings and we do this by using those string libraries inside this program. So here Nilesh is greater than Archana because n comes alphabetically after A. So Nilesh is greater than Archana. If we print the strings alphabetically, then we see Archana comes before Nilesh. So in this way we sort the strings, given strings alphabetically by using bubble sort method. But before that we need to store number of strings inside one array, and then we print the original array as it is, and then print the strings in sorted order. So we do this. For string array I am giving the data type as string, and names I am giving the array name as names, and how many strings are there to store I am giving the n variable name to store the number of strings here. Now I am giving one message to user as enter number of strings. Enter number of strings. So user gives me the number of strings and I am storing those number of strings inside n. So console.readline, for getting the number of strings we need to convert it inside into int32. Now inside n there are number of strings. Now I can allocate the memory for this array names as new int how many elements we want, n elements, n strings we want to store inside this names array. The data type is string, so I am using here string. Now this names array is empty here. Now we enter one by one strings user enters and we store inside this names array. For this I am using one for loop, and I am going from 0th index to n-1 and store all the strings one by one inside this names array. So names of I is equal to console dot readline. Now this gives me the string result, and we also want string result, so there is no need to conversion because our array is of string type. So we store strings as it is inside this string array. Now all the n strings are stored inside this names array after this for loop execution. Now I want to display this for loop I want to display the array elements as it is, so I am using the same for loop and displaying the values like line by line. Names of I, as it is, I am displaying the values, and before displaying the strings I am giving the message as strings, stored strings are, and after sorting I am giving same for loop, but after sorted I am giving the messages after sorted or after sorting strings, after sorting strings are. So before and after, in between we need to sort all the strings. So for this I am giving, or I am using one for loop, I is equal to n minus 1 and I is greater than or equal to 0, I is greater than 0, I minus minus. I am using here reverse for loop, and inside this I am using one more for loop, j is equal to 0 and j is less than I and j plus plus. Inside this I am comparing adjacent to two elements if names of j dot compare to names of j plus 1. Adjacent means jth element and its next element. If names of j dot compare to names of j plus 1, then and it gives me the result as greater than 0. If this gives me the result as greater than 0, we need to give how many brackets are there. See, this is names of j dot compare to names of j plus 1. This is greater than 0. Then what we need to do here, one flag variable I am using here, integer. For interchanging the values we need one more element, so I am using here flag is equal to, I am not integer but I need one string variable, string flag, for temporary storing the elements or strings, names of j, then names of j plus 1, equal to names of j is equal to names of j plus 1. You know how we can interchange the values by using one extra variable. Names of j plus 1 is equal to flag. So in this way, if first string is greater than the second string, okay, jth string is greater than j plus 1 string, then there is a need to interchange, swap the strings. So this is the logic behind swapping. And if this condition will not be true, then this part will not be executed. Means the strings are already in correct order, then there is no need to interchange. Then this if will not be executed. So in this way we do the sorting logic. This double for loop is used. I am using here for sorting, bubble sorting program. Now if we run this program, see what will be the output. Enter number of strings. I am giving here 5. Then I am giving here some strings as Nilesh, then Archana, then Manisha, then Kajal, and finally I am giving here Jitendra. Now stored strings are Nilesh, Archana, Manisha, Kajal and Jiten, and after sorting strings are, it gives me the sorted order. Archana first, then Jitendra second, then Kajal, then Manisha and Nilesh. Only one message we required here. After enter number of strings, one message we need to give. Enter those strings one by one. So this message we need to give here before this for loop. We give one message as console.writeLine. Enter those n strings one by one. Now if I run this program, it gives me the output as the enter number of strings. If I am giving here 7, and it gives me proper messages, enter those 7 strings one by one, means user understand he or she needs to give 7 strings one by one. So now if I am giving Geeta, Neeta, Ramesh, Ganesh, Rajesh, Sita, then Meenal, then it gives me the output as stored strings are, see, Geeta, then Neeta, Ramesh, Ganesh, Rajesh, Sita, Meenal, as it is we are displaying. Now after sorting, after bubble sort algorithm works, strings will be sorted according to alphabets. First string is Ganesh, then Geeta, C, G. Both the strings having first letter as G. If two strings having the first letter as same, then second letter will be compared. See here inside Ganesh, A is second letter, and inside Geeta, I is second letter. So Ganesh will be first and then Geeta, because A will becomes before I in alphabets. A comes before I. So Ganesh is first, then Geeta, then Meenal, then Neeta, Rajesh, Ramesh. Here again R-A, both two letters are same inside Rajesh and Ramesh. Then third letter will be compared. So string comparison comes according to alphabets and not according to the length of the string. So keep in mind, string comparison done according to alphabets and not according to the length of the string. So in this way we use here bubble sort method to sort the strings alphabetically. Thank you.